It's been a crazy week, and I know you and I have talked about that because I have been waking up early to trade some stocks, and I'm texting Matt Cataldo, and I'm like, "Ooh, did you see this? Ooh, did you see that? Oh my gosh, you got to buy Dodge. Is it Doge? Dodge?
I don't know.
It's not the Dodge car company.
It doesn't matter what you call it. It's fake. It's two software engineers that decided they would make a fake meme coin, and now it's got like $7 billion market share.
So for those of you who don't know what we're referring to is this crazy week in the stock market of how GameStop, AMC, Nokia, BlackBerry, their stocks like skyrocketed from like, what was it, like GameStop was $40-something originally, and then it's
GameStop was $4 last year.
$4.
It was 16.
Wow.
It was 16 or something at the beginning of the year, I think, something like that.
And it went
like
up to
a week,
$400 and something within like a day or a couple days.
Yeah.
So literally, which means for those who don't know how to don't do stocks, basically, if you bought like 2 stocks in it, you would have made close to $1,000 in like a day. You know what I mean? But I mean, it was so cheap.
And if you only had $32, making $1,000 would be really big for you. It's the only thing this company has, a name and an online presence. Every brick and mortar store of theirs is going to be closed. The fact is they're all leased, so they can't even get out of them. This was a perfect situation for a pump and dump, and they did it. And these guys who are saying, we're going after the rich, they are the rich. Mm-hmm. They made hundreds of millions of dollars to billions of dollars on this short squeeze. And now the problem is a lot of the shorters are out, and only people who were left with these $400 stocks are the people who read the article 2 days late. And they bought it when it was sky high, and they're like, oh, this is going to go to 1,000. I know. I can tell you this from the bottom of my heart. Hundreds of thousands of people who never traded shares, read an article, thought GameStop was going to go up forever. Somehow they thought it was actually a worthwhile company. Somehow they thought it was worth as much as General Motors and Ford. Companies that actually have billions of dollars in hard assets like buildings and manufacturing equipment. They thought a company like GameStop, who's got nothing, was going to be worth more than them, was going to join the Fortune 500 in actual value and keep going up. It's sad. And so they bought late, and now they lost everything. And I hope, but I know they did. They bought on margin. They bought with credited money. They bought with their rent money, thinking they're going to triple it, quadruple it, 500% increase in a day. And now they can't pay their rent. But luckily, Biden's going to send them a stimulus check, so they'll be okay.
Well, how long did that last?
About a week, right?
Yeah.
Only a week?
Less than a week.
But see, Reddit played such a gigantic part in that because Reddit gave people hope that, okay, we're going to be the new billionaire talk. We're going to be the insider tip. We're going to tell you who to invest in, and we're going to be a number. We're going to be in the millions. We're all going to invest in this one stock, and we're going to make it push and go to the moon. Which, in fact, that was not the case.
Well, like he was saying, with a company like GameStop, it's been going down for years.
In the last year, they couldn't get anybody to influx any money to keep them out of bankruptcy.
Yeah,
they were on their way done. AMC is on its way out.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, movie theaters might not be able to hold on through the pandemic. Mm-hmm. AMC luckily got an influx of about $700 million, so they'll make it through the end of this year. But the fact of the matter is that people got caught up. Well, what's that? The FOMO term? Is that the one? The
fear of missing out?
Yeah, that one. That's what it was. And people thought, oh my gosh, 300, don't worry, it's going to triple again.
You got to admit, though, it was genius because for those who don't even know stocks that well, okay, think about it, though. Everyone gets excited about it. They don't want FOMO. They don't want to miss out. Everyone is jumping on Robinhood for the first time or Stash for the first time, trying to invest and get this money. They don't know what they're doing. Yeah. But Reddit is telling them, hey, this is our time to, to take over. And let's be honest, that ain't going to happen.
Dude, everybody was excited when Bernie Madoff was paying double-digit returns on his Ponzi scheme.
Let me ask you, Matt Cataldo, if you were to explain what happened last week to a 13-year-old or 14-year-old, how would you explain what happened last week?
All right, so I found a bunch of worthless stuff, okay? And so I had a bunch of this worthless stuff. And I thought to myself, dude, I got hundreds of thousands of these worthless items. What could I do? Wait, I got a little clout. I'm going to tell everybody that this worthless stuff is amazing. And that if we all band together to buy this worthless stuff, there's a bunch of evil people out there who don't want this worthless stuff to ever be sold for any money. So we're going to stick it to the evil people. And if we all buy it together and we all use all of our money and we hold it for as long as it takes for me to sell it at a high number, we will stick it to the rich guy, the evil guy. We'll stick it to that devil. He works on Wall Street. You know he screwed you in the 2000s. He's been screwing you forever. Let's stick it to the man. So we're going to all do this. Everybody buy as much of this worthless stuff as you can, and we're going to hold it hostage until the evil man has to buy the worthless stuff back from us at a higher price because he knows it's worthless. So he made a giant bet that it was going to be worthless. And now we're going to show him that it's not worthless. But it's worthless. Mm-hmm. And now it's coming crashing back down, mm-hmm. and people are losing all of their money. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And it's sad. But when you take items that are worthless, you can't make them worth anything because they're still worthless. Mm-hmm. You can trick people for a certain amount of time. You can sell snake oil and tell you that it cures headaches and cancer and bone breaks. But sooner or later, when the cancer isn't cured, people will figure out that your snake oil is snake oil. And it just doesn't do anything for you. So you can't just get rich quick. Someone gets rich quick. Remember, the guy who makes the most money or the group that makes the most money in the Ponzi scheme are the ones that are at the beginning. The ones who make the most money in the MLM are the ones who start it.
Let me ask you this. What do you think happens ultimately to GameStop after all this?
GameStop will exist as an online presence. They'll probably be a major distributor. I don't know of what for sure because, I mean, Xbox and PlayStation pretty much made it clear on this release. The disc is a thing of the past, but I mean, Steve Jobs told you that 15 years ago when he eliminated the disc drive from computers and said, this is ridiculous. Everything should be digital. We shouldn't be holding things. We should be downloading things. And so they'll probably be a distributor of stuff. Maybe they'll be something like that. They'll still have the hardware. But the fact is that video games are going pretty much just download the game and go. Mm-hmm. You'll need the box, sure, but people aren't even leaving their house for the box. So it's just going to all be online. Mm-hmm. There'll be an online provider, but they're done. I mean, and yeah, I get it. Some of the articles talked about nostalgia, like, oh, GameStop is like when I was a kid, I wanted to go to GameStop and get my newest game. So did they do it for that? Okay, you can use that as an excuse. You can be like, we were trying to prop up a thing of our childhood. Yeah. But all you are is a greedy person who just wanted to make millions and millions in a day off the back of hardworking people that you conned into buying it. And that's it. I mean, people made money. Mm-hmm. People made millions and billions of dollars. Mm-hmm. And some of it probably were Wall Street people. Some of the losses were Wall Street people. Some of the rich people were regular, everyday people who now have a better life than they did before. But when you make money in a stock that then plummets and doesn't keep going up, someone loses.
Does Damon still go, does he go to the store and buy video games, or does he buy them online on Amazon?
He buys them online.
Okay.
We have a GameStop near us, actually. So we'll go in there once in a while to see if they have anything or if something he wants right away. Yeah. And doesn't want to wait for the overnight shipping or 2 days or whatever. But like he said, you could buy everything digital now. As a matter of fact, the PlayStation has 2 different units. One you could buy to use the discs. One you could buy to just download. And it's actually cheaper to buy the one to download.
Nicholas downloads every game. He doesn't have a hard copy of games anymore. You don't break it. You don't lose it. You don't anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. If something happens, you just re-download it.
Right. And it's a mess. It's almost like your old DVD crate thing collection that you have. You just have it all over and so much easier. That's why Netflix and all that stuff. That's why there's no Blockbuster. There's no video. There's no nothing because all the online presence of all the new stuff took it all over.
Let me ask you this then, Matt. We've talked about other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Litecoin, and Ethereum.
The fake money?
Yeah, I mean...
There's a difference between what happened last week and the cryptocurrency that we're talking about now, like Bitcoin, because, I mean, there's a lot of money still, we believe, that's there that could be made.
So I mean, you take the past of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, I mean, I don't know a lot about it. Don't care for it. I don't believe in stuff that's just make believe. But then again, maybe that's just my jealousy that I didn't make up a fake currency and figure out how to distribute it and make a bunch of money. Now there are differences. There are vast differences. So what has been explained to me by people who do crypto is Bitcoin is out there. I mean, there are factory-like buildings mining Bitcoin, just like processing all day. The computer does transactions and solves things, and you can mine it. It takes a ton of power. Bitcoin is said to, and I don't know how they know it, but I mean, I haven't looked deep enough, but they say there's a finite amount of Bitcoin. Now, the interesting part about it is that with all the fraud that has happened with Bitcoin, with its founder and creator, just disappeared.
Are we talking about the guy from Japan?
Yeah. And then you got, what is that, Mt. Gox or whatever, the one of the original trading platforms. That one went under fraud, and then millions of Bitcoin disappeared. Then you have the other fact where back in the day, people were just mining Bitcoin, and then they forgot the code, and it was just gone. It's like sitting in a hard drive. There's probably millions of Bitcoins sitting in landfills and dead hard drives that will never be recovered because it's there. It's not like it went to another location. I mean, if you look at it, if you conceptually look at it, yes, it's a great way to avoid banking, to avoid costs and fees and all these things. But why? What kind of business do you run where you're okay with a currency that is so volatile that you could have done services? Okay, I did $350,000 in services for you today. You paid me 10 Bitcoin. All right, I wake up in the morning and now it's worth 32,000 a coin. I literally just lost 30 grand from what I did work yesterday. I built you a house that cost 350 grand. You paid me 350K in Bitcoin. I wake up in the morning before I can even cash it out, and I got 320,000. Okay, that doesn't work as a business model unless you're like Venezuelan. So you can't have such a volatile currency. But where does currency come into play where you would love it that nobody knows whose it is, who transacted it, where it went, and who got it? Who? Arms dealers?
Yeah, there's no
drug
tracking.
dealers? The North Koreans?
Some restaurants are actually accepting Bitcoin
Who does that?
pay.
Yeah.
People are accepting that as
remember,
currency?
I mean, I read it online, and the first actual transaction, the one they say online, the first actual Bitcoin transaction was 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 Papa John's pizzas.
Oh, that's right. You showed me that.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
So, I mean, but it was
Wow.
like people, it was technology people. They were like, okay, I'll do it. Yeah.
But they do that in the business world too, though. They'll buy companies with just stock sometimes.
Sure, exactly. And the reason they do it is because, number one, they don't have the money. I mean, so they're trying to
Collateral.
leverage what they have. They're saying, hey, we're a big company. We're going to absorb your company, and you either have enough faith in us because all we're giving you is a bunch of our paper, and hopefully it works.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. I liked Ripple, which is XRP. It uses to purchase and pay for things. It was conceptually good. I like the idea. The only problem is that I'm one of those people who are like, so you're telling me you created this currency, but there's only so much of it, so you say.
Right.
Well, did you already start with a billion? Like, did the guy who came up with Bitcoin, did he start out with? I mean, come on, this was so easy to mine back in the day. It was quick. People were just producing coins. So did somebody, immediately take 1 million coins off the top, put it away? Is it in their electronic wallet? Is it sitting in a solid state hard drive somewhere? I am skeptical, but I'm skeptical of our government. I mean, how many times have you read articles about trillions of dollars being unaccounted for out of our mint? Okay, you hear about all this stuff. There is no accounting in our money system. The Treasury just keeps printing the stuff, and nobody really even knows how much is out there, how much the CIA has dumped in airdrops into random countries to stop communism. So I think any time that you can create a currency and then on top of it create a hype, it's very scary. So the guys who created Dogecoin, the little meme coin, 5-6 years ago when it starts, it's, you could probably get 10,000 for a penny. But the thing with them is they don't have a finite number of coins. They can literally...
Who regulates, though?
No regulation. This is the wild west of currency. So the guys who created Dogecoin, so Doge goes up to 8 cents the other day.
Yeah.
They could literally just give themselves 1 billion coins and just flood the market again. Mm-hmm. So they could turn 1 billion coins at 8 cents each. What? That's $80 million, right? Is that 80 million? Is that is it 1 billion and then like 8 cents and then it's probably like 80 million, something like that. Maybe 8. No, it's not 800 million because that'd be 1 billion. It's probably like 80 million. They could just release $80 million. And when everybody's so hyped about it, no one even realizes there's 80 billion coins out there in the market because it's all fake.
It's extremely volatile, but the reality is there's people who are making a lot of money off of it, though.
There's people making a lot of money off crack cocaine, too. But that doesn't change the fact that you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the fact that you're screwing people, and they're doing it. The only real people who made money in the last week and a half, the only real winners was the U.S. government. Because their capital gains on short-term money is hefty.
Well, let me ask you this.
And Biden wants it all.
Why did Robinhood stop people from investing in Doge?
All of the trading companies out there, all of the currency companies, Cash App to Venmo to PayPal to Robinhood to any of them, they're not in it for you. They didn't create an app so you can trade and move money for no cost. They didn't do it altruistically. It's there to make money. And if they see a problem, like Citadel says, hey, Robinhood, this is a problem. A bunch of these small investors are holding our short hostage. Stop it now. What are you going to do? You can't do anything. They can stop trading. NASDAQ just stopped, right? NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange have actually halted trading of stocks. It's not illegal. And yes, you'll get mad. Just like right now, Republicans. Look at Biden with all of his executive orders. He's just being a dictator. I mean, come on. No matter what side you're on, you're always going to be mad. If you're Robinhood, you're like, oh, we got to stop the bleeding because all we are is another investment company trading stock. Oh, Cash App jumps in. Cash App rapes you, literally takes as much money as they possibly can under the guise of a financial institution before you can get your money out of there. So yes, it's all about making money. The Redditors were making money. That's all they wanted to do. They didn't care who they got it from. They didn't care if the hedge fund guys bought it at $400 a share or if Joe Blow on the street corner bought it for $400 a share. They wanted to sell their $4 stock for $400.
Okay, what if the stock market crashes, though? Do people have time to pull out all their money?
Well, it's never crashed. Don't worry about that.
So in today's world with apps, do people have time to pull out their money if the stock market crashes?
Oh, sure, but it's plummeting.
Michelle says no.
Not necessarily.
Well, you always have time. Okay, so say this. So say the stock market's crashing and you own GameStop at $450. So GameStop's plummeting. Well, you're trying to get on your app. Obviously, there's going to be problems because the whole world's going to be.
Yes.
Yeah. So you got to get on it. But the fact is that it all depends on when you get your option in. People are selling all the way down. People are picking up. The fact is, if the stock's at 500 and you're so freaked out because it's plummeting that you put your sell order in at 200, someone might pick it up.
Yeah.
They might flip it back around at 300 while the crash is still happening.
Yeah.
But the fact is that they all get bought. I mean, stocks, if nobody's buying a share and nobody's selling a share, then shares actually can't go down. Okay. The only way shares go down is if people are selling it for less and people are buying it. They don't just magically go down.
Yeah.
It's a buy and sell system.
Right.
I mean, if everybody's out there selling GameStop at 500 and no one wants to buy it, the stock's not moving. I mean, there's not a single, if no trades are done, the stock doesn't move. It just stays flat. So you'll always have time to get out. How much money you lose will always be the question. Mm-hmm. And then can you time the buyback in when it hits bottom or close to bottom? Mm-hmm. It'll come soon.
But here's my question. Why is everybody so angry about the R or the D?
Social media. It's
media.
all social media.
Is it just social media, or is it also the mainstream media?
No, I just said it. It's all social media. Did you not hear me?
Well,
check your headphones. I'm just playing.
But all social media, we're talking about the mainstream media.
Dude, people don't really know what mainstream media is anymore. Do people actually tune in for Walter Cronkite? No. I mean, they don't anymore. No one tunes in for the 7 o'clock nightly news. Not no one, because I guess they still have it on. But the majority of people just take their news from
But do you think
from
that
XYZ FreddyKnowsWhat'sUp.com. And they're like, dude, repost that. That's the truth. Be like, what do you mean it's the truth?
People make a meme and it's the truth.
Yeah.
Now.
I mean, CBS, NBC, ABC, they run with stories that they haven't even vetted. So no, they're just social media now. Mm-hmm. They're not real media. Mm-hmm. There is no real media. Mm-hmm. There's some people out there probably doing real media, and they're probably still printing on a press and they're handing out their papers. But the fact of the matter is, everybody wants to be the first one out there. So now they all want to be TMZ, because if you're the 10th person to report the story, it doesn't matter. But if you're the first person to report it right, that should mean something. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't anymore. Mm-hmm. Just report whatever, get a bunch of clicks, billions of hits, we're good. Oh, it's wrong. Oh, my bad.
Do you believe that the election, these past elections, there was any fraud? Do you deep in your heart, do you believe there was fraud?
There's fraud in every election. That's just the bottom line.
I think so, too.
I mean, we know this. People vote in areas where they're not supposed to. Does the fraud change the election? I don't believe so. I just don't see it. But it comes down to the same thing. Do we already know who's going to win? Do they already know? Did they already say it?
So then why do we vote? Yes,
because they want us to feel like we're doing something.
They push and push and push to go out and vote and to go out and vote.
Well, because it's cool. I mean, come on. MTV said rock the vote in the 80s and the 90s. If it's cool, then they'll all do it. I mean, first you started out with the rich and the elite telling you to vote, which is hilarious because those people are literally the ones that have no idea what's going on with the world because they don't need to. They don't care what things cost. They don't care that people lost money. They don't care about that. They do care that people pirate their movies because it costs them money, but that's about it. They don't care. Remember, the rich are the rich. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on, what they claim. The fact is they got rich off other people. And the fact is they got rich in nasty ways. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on, man. You think Soros pays a living wage to everybody who's ever worked for him so they could all have nice houses and everything? No, it doesn't matter. The great thing is once you're a billionaire, you can do and care about everybody you want. You could say everybody should have health care. We need to help the poor. But you're already rich and you don't care. They call it what? FU money. They got lots of it because they don't care. They can say whatever they want. You can boycott them. They're billionaires. They don't care what you think. And they never have and never will. And you know what? Politicians are the same way. They don't.
Well, you know what?
When's the last time you heard a politician did something for you in your area that was a benefit?
She will. She's running for mayor, by the way.
Nice.
She's not.
But here
I still got my city council
She's
signs.
not yet.
People remember me.
Matt Cataldo. It's. I was looking at your Facebook post and I was reading them, and I go, if there's any of my friends who are as educated and as down the middle as possible, because I'm trying to stay as middle as possible. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
My goal
Not really pick
to
one
use this
side over the
platform is to, before you start spewing your sheep-like mouth on social media or whatever platform that you think you have power on, fully understand and learn both sides, because there always is more than one side of the story. And if you fully comprehend each side of the story, and you may not agree still, but at least you are more educated to argue your side of the story later on.
Right.
But sometimes there's even a third side of the story. But Matt, I enjoy having you because when you're here, I still learn a lot from you.
Well, thank you.
To this very day.
Anybody knows me. I like talking. It's my favorite thing to do.
I always said Matt Cataldo should be on the radio because he has a radio voice.
And as my brother said, he goes, the best part is you talk in monologues, so no one even has to respond for you to keep talking.
Trying to find those pockets.
Yeah, and it's good. I don't mind talking. I mean, that's what I get paid for as a living. I mean, basically talking is what I do all day long. But like I said, yeah, I mean, growing up, middle class, people used to say like, oh, your family's rich. I'm like, how am I rich? I'm like, both my parents are teachers. I'm like, have you seen their cars? But we lived in a really nice neighborhood. And my parents always took that as what you needed. Sacrifice everything for the neighborhood, sacrifice everything for the good neighborhood and the good schools, and then don't worry about anything else. Today's kids, they would take a Mercedes Benz and live in a box.
I know, it's crazy,
and it's like I don't get it because I'm like, you got to understand that, and I hear people talking about it from an investment point of view. They're like, when you buy your first house, you should never live in it, rent it, and then rent a place. I'm like, if you're single, I get it. From a money standpoint, you can make money and, come up ahead. But my wife taught me something when I tried to sell our house in 2005, the one we were living in. And I was like, but they're offering like $550. I'm like, we paid $150 for it 5 years ago. Let's just sell it for $550. She said, what are we going to do? I'm like, I don't know. We'll put the money in the bank and we'll go rent a house somewhere. She's like, this is not a house. This is our home. This is where, our son was born. This is where our daughter grew up. I'm like, $550,000. I kept saying the number over and over again. I was like, the market is going to drop. So I got an apology like 2010. She said you were right. And I was like, I knew I was right, but she said, you were right. We probably should have sold it, but who knows how long it would have taken. It probably would have taken us about 3 more years. So it would have been a long time. We'd have rent a nice house with, $350,000 in the bank. But, you have those things. So I think making money, doing something that's right, understanding what's going on, there's a lot of things that next generation can do. The only thing that I'm disappointed in the current generation, like the I don't know, like 15 to like 20 something, is there's so much I want. They talk about people being entitled. They talk about white privilege. They talk about all these things. And then out the other side of their mouth, they're like, I want the government to pay for my internet, my health care, my post-secondary education. I want you to do this and this. And I'm like, well, isn't that just another entitlement? And I have a plan, that I would love to see for education. Get good grades in high school, get a free year of junior college. Get good grades in the first year of junior college, get another free year. Do 3.0 and higher, get a third year at a UC or a CSU. Do well, get a fourth year. Get a degree. Give back to the state you got your education from. There's so many ways to do it. All we have to do is stop funding other countries and protecting them, and we'd have enough money to buy everybody health care and education.
Absolutely.
But you have to make them understand that it is something of value. And you have to study stuff that helps, like engineers and medical and teachers and stuff like that. Studying 17th century French art, not really a degree that's going to help anybody.
No?
Yeah, exactly.
You better turn your degree in, Freddie.
So
it's no good to anyone.
We can do all this. But what it is people are so stuck in their ways of thinking, if I give them anything for free, they're not going to appreciate it. Okay? But maybe they will, and maybe they'll give back with it. Certainly, you won't hit 100% on people doing stuff with their degrees that's beneficial or understanding the greatness that was bestowed upon them with this free education. But a lot of people will. And a lot of people who haven't got education will now be able to. So you have to go with the majority of good versus the, they're gonna rob the system. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but they're gonna get money back and they're gonna do that. Okay, so some people will game the system, but the majority will be better off for it. And I think we're stuck in a way of people not understanding that everybody doing better is better for everybody. Because you got a lot of people in probably the under 30 crowd who thinks for someone to win, someone must lose. And it's not always true. We can all grow and prosper in a society without having losers.
Matt Cataldo is so loved. And I think if anybody could experience a teacher like I did in high school, that would be everything. And I'm very lucky to have had you as a high school teacher, and even luckier to have you as a lifelong friend. But so thank you for coming to my studio again.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. You know, you're in my class almost 20 years ago.
Ooh.
No, I wasn't.
Yep.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
I mean, you were 3 at the time, but you were still there.
Wow.
Oh,
you know what his head just did?
Yeah.
All right, that's Radio Flyer. My name is Freddie Rivera. Michelle Zuno on the blue mic.
Woo, woo.
Matt Cataldo, or what we all call him because he's our teacher, Mr. Cataldo. Second time on Radio Flyer. It's such a joy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
It was fun.